demonstration from Nantes asking the federal government to intervene strike. This is happening in real life at Airport Road leading to International Airport. And here you have security officials who are lined up. And we have the ones over there. Now there's a serious on this road, as you can see. No vehicle. The demonstration from Nantes asking the federal government to intervene over the ASU strike. This is happening in real life at Airport Road leading to International Airport, Lagos State. And here you have security officials who are lined up.
Hello, dear friends, lovers of freedom, good people, and people who are interested in the positive advancement of the Black race or the African nations. Every one of you who is interested in true freedom, who is interested in seeing to it that our generations and our generations to come receive a good life and also become useful and receive the blessings that Chukwu Kikiabiama has for us. Every one of you all over the nations of the world, wherever you are, and you are a lover of freedom, you are Biafran. Please let me put this call. Hello? Hello? No need. I'm on the broadcast. I'll talk to you later. Sorry about that, dear friends. I'm greeting every one of you wherever you are, all over the nations of the world. As long as you're a lover of freedom, you are a lover of the people, you are a lover of good things, and you are interested in things happening well, and you want things to happen very, very, very appropriately so that we all can have a good life. I greet you all wherever you are. Thank you for joining me in this broadcast. My name is Kelechi Ambrose, and wherever you are today, you can sit tight, and in the next 35 minutes or 38 minutes, I'm going to be through with this broadcast. Basically, I've come to talk to Nigerians today, of course, because we know that Biafrans are entrapped or, held down, in the contraption called Nigeria. And since Biafrans are still held in Nigeria, most of them have also behaving like Nigerians. They have this Nigerian mentality. Now, today I'm going to be talking about, the Nigeria students, especially the Nigeria university students, in relation to the ASU strike. Of course, we're all aware, like the video I just played now, it is the video of Nigeria students, which has most of them are Biafrans, standing at the airport road. They blocked the road yesterday. This happened yesterday. They are protesting that the federal government responds to ASU so that they can get back to school and they can go and study. And one interesting thing about that protest are the things I'm going to be discussing, because I'm going to be discussing some things critically about the protest and why, you see, when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu says that our people need to be sensible, they felt he was insulting them, but they never knew that they actually are they actually need that message to prompt them to begin to do things right and to reason right. But we're going to be looking at that critically soon. I'm going to be talking to them, talking to all students, because this message is actually for Nigerian students, which of course we know Biafrans make majority of them. Biafrans are in their midst. Go to most of the schools in Lagos, most of the schools, and all of that. They are basically Biafrans and no Dudua. For how many people in the north do you see in school? Even those ones that are in school, they are there just to while away time and just to receive a document and say that they have gone through school, and then they come and they take over NNPC, they take over the important roles, and then you that have gone to school and who actually studied and who entered into school with good cut-off marks and all of that, you get into school and then you're now out of school, and then you are now working under those people who actually are rearing cattle, and they are rearing cattle, and then they are also they are your boss. Now it is interesting to see this kind of thing called protests. It's strange, but I'm going to explain why I said so. First, I want to bring back our mind. I want to take back our minds to in 2009. In 2009, the government of the zoo, then I think Yaradua and Billy Jonathan were the people in there. And there was this agreement with ASU that they were going to pay a certain amount, and they're going to sponsor and make sure that they get the universities working and things are going to be better. In fact, there's if according to international standards, we talked about a very good percentage of the budget, the national budget, going to the education and all of that and blah blah blah. Then I remember I discussed with some of my people then, some of my friends then, at a particular gathering we have actually discussing, and I said to them, you see, one thing about our people is that I don't know how people would think that you would have people who are rearing cattle, people who are marauders, people who are headers take over the position of government and give you sound education. I don't know why you think that people would want you to get things better than them. I don't know why you will always think that somebody who doesn't have what he has, what he should have, can give you what he doesn't have. First, we should understand this concept. Since 2009, they have not responded to that agreement they had with ASU. The federal government of the contraption called Nigeria has refused to respond to that agreement. 2009 until now is 13 good years. 13 good years. Now, first, let me tell you why they have not responded to that. One, the president is a cattle rearer. He's a Fulani. Fulanis are the sponsors of Boko Haram and every other Islamic, terrorist organization that don't believe in education, Western education. In fact, we all know that Boko Haram means Western education is forbidden. We know this. One, it's a first point I want you to have in mind. Western education is forbidden. That is Boko Haram. Two, the government of the zoo, the caliphate, are the ones sponsoring these terrorist organizations that have said that Western education is forbidden. They are the ones sponsoring them to utilize them as a means of subjugating and taking over your land. You know this quite all right. There's no argument about that. You've heard it from even the mouth of these terrorists, those ones that so-called that said they are repentant. They tell you that the government of Nigeria contracted them. They are working for the government. They ask you, they said, where do we have money to buy AK-47? How much do we make? But we are given these weapons by the Nigerian government. The kidnapping by the terrorists and all of that, ravaging the villages and the communities of the southern people is done by the terrorist government using these foot soldiers, the headers, to actually carry out these things. Now, their interest, if you go to the north, the Northerners don't like to be educated. In fact, the Fulanis decided to keep their people non-educated or not to give them education so that they can keep them always obeying them. They are interested in giving them Islamic education, because when you are educated in Islam, you say yes to every religious instruction. Every religious instruction that comes, yes sir, yes sir, you go and kill them, they are infidels, you go and kill them, go and do this. They know that when you are restricted to getting Islamic education, you would only be like a cow. You would operate like a cow, behave like a cow, do things like a cow, and all of that. Everything about you will be yes to religion, because religion has a way of controlling. They know that education, Western education, has a way of making you reason, even if we know that Western education is corrupted, based on the fact that the curriculum is designed in a way that it will affect, our ways of accepting, the British over us, and accepting the Western world to be superior than we are. But of course, that is why we're asking for our freedom, because we know that when we get our freedom, we're going to design our curriculum to imbibe our culture, to imbibe our system, to imbibe our tradition, to strengthen our values, and to give value to every Biafran and every person who is an African. They know all of that. Now, these people, these students, these ASU people know that the government, one, they are not educationists. They don't care about education. They are not interested in education. In fact, they are sponsoring terrorist organizations that should be that saying that they don't want education, Western education, that it is forbidden. They only want Islamic education. They are sponsoring a program called Fulanization and Islamization program to get everybody to become Islamic, and then they will design your curriculum and all of that to suit Islamic values and all of that, and also keep you under the bound of Sharia law, so that your mind will be regulated and designed to accommodate only Islamic principles, Islamic system, Islamic structure, and Islamic operation, modus operandi of the Islamic nation, and then affecting your modus vivendi. So the modus operandi, which is taken out from the Islamic culture or the Quran and the Islamic Sharia system, becomes your modus vivendi, because you live according to the standards of that. Your life is regulated by that. They deal with you by the laws of the Sharia. They deal with you by the laws of the Quran. They treat you when you misbehave. They cut off your hands. They cut off your legs. They cut off your finger. They cut off something out of you. They punish you based on Islamic values. So it will now begin to regulate your mind system to understand that everything you do should be for Islam. That is what they want to instill in you. Now, these are people called ASU, people, so-called Southerners who are in the ASU, who call themselves people in the education sector and all of that. They know that these people who are leading them are Fulanis who don't value education, yet they are going on strike. How can you strike? Now, when you hear some of them talk, they will tell you, we want government to keep to the agreement, and we know that government should see education as very important. How can you say that people who don't believe in education, Islam does not believe in your Western education, you want them to give you what they don't believe in? You see, when we are doing, that is why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said that black people, the way of reasoning, the way they reason, they reason like animals. You know that this person who is your leader, because they are your leaders, they are leading you, even if they are not leaders. You have taken them to be your leaders. They don't value education. They don't believe in education. They say Western education is not accepted, is forbidden. You know what? When something is forbidden, that means that thing is an abomination. Forbidden, abomination, abominable. They tell you that Western education is forbidden. They constructed Boko Haram, and that is what Boko Haram means. They are the ones, the architecture, the designers, the structural designers of Boko Haram. They fund them, they give them weapons, ISIS, all the Al-Shabaab, all of them, they don't believe in education. They all believe in Islamic values and instilling. That is why you see that in Afghanistan right now, the Taliban, which is an extension of these other groups, extension of all these militant groups, or all these not militant now, all these terrorist groups, organizations, they are making sure that they restrict people from education in their schools. Their schools have been designed to accommodate only Islamic values. They are removing Western values little by little. Now they have restricted from the time they got in. In fact, since they got in, they have restricted women from going to school. In fact, as at today, as we are talking, we are having a conversation now through this broadcast, the ladies, the women in what's the capital of Afghanistan now? In Afghanistan, anyways, the ladies have not been permitted to go to school. Over 1 year ago, the Taliban took over since August last year, August 15th or so. They have not been permitted to go to school. Some schools, they said they are trying to revitalize or redesign the program so that they can go back to school. That means they want to make it in a way that when they come in, what they're going to be learning is what they want them to know. These are the kind of people that are ruling you in Nigeria, for God's sake. And you are telling me you are going on strike to make them give you what they cannot give you, what they don't have. They believe in Islam. They believe that what they want to do is to Islamize you, to get you to believe in Islam. Because when you're under Islam, you will not question their authority. You will not question what they do. You will not question when they take your resources. You will not question when they steal your resources. You will only believe in them and trust Allah to be the one to bless you. In fact, they will make you feel that you don't have anything, or you will enjoy all the things you need to enjoy when you get to heaven. Their heaven. This is the design. Yes, Kabul. Yes, and I remembered it anyways, but I was thinking that Kabul was actually, Pakistan. It just I was getting confused about that. So I remember Kabul. Yes, Kabul. Thank you so much, Ma, for giving me that, for getting it back to me to remember. Yes, Kabul is the capital. Now, they actually keep the people subjugated. The ladies there now, the women there now, are no more permitted to go to school. These are the same people who are sponsoring what is happening in Nigeria. And you call yourself an educationist, an intellectual, and everything in Nigeria. You are still asking the person who doesn't have the value for education to give you something that will make your education quality. You're asking for quality education from people who don't have value for education. Now you can imagine our fellow Biafrans and Oduduwa brothers at the background now. This is one of the pictures. At the background behind me now, you see the picture. It is a picture of their protest at Airport Road in the zoo and in Lagos. Anyways, let me not call that place the zoo. Let me call it Lagos for now. Because we are believing our Oduduwa brothers are doing everything to make sure that they liberate the land and make it, make it Oduduwa land, so that we know that when we are dealing with them, we're dealing with them reasonably. Of course, under Nigeria now, they are tormenting Biafrans, they are breaking their shops, they are destroying their properties. But when they get their property, when they get their own nation as Oduduwa, they will reason well, because now they are still under Nigeria. So anything under Nigeria is always destructive. It's always about destruction. It's always about spoiling things. It's all about, so that mentality, that mindset is still there. So we understand. We don't want to go too far in getting angry and reacting. They are destroying shops, especially, and destroying the properties and the businesses of our Biafran brothers and sisters and all of that. They are doing all of that. But we know that they are going to come back to their senses. That's what we're supporting, to make sure that Oduduwa comes, so that when we are dealing with them, international relations and all of that, we are going to have a path, a path that is enshrouded or is encapsulated in constructive reasoning and constructive nationhood. So we understand that we have that mutual understanding at that point in time. Now, look at my brothers now behind me. They are standing there, blocking the roads, stopping everything, stopping traffic, and they could risk their life and do all of this to pursue something that is worthless. Why did I say so? They are striking and doing all of this to pursue for a better Nigeria through education. When the people who are ruling you have a different motive, their interest is to make sure that they ground your education. Their interest is to make sure that you don't get the value in your education. Their interest is not in funding the education aspect of the budget. Their interest is to siphon the monies. They allot money there, and then they are ministers who are already Fulanis, because it's still the Fulanis that they use as Minister of Education, so that those ones will still steal the money. They steal the money. If you go to the education ministry now, as I'm talking to you, I remember when I was doing contract with them, then I do go to those places. The truth is that when you go there, use in education ministry, that's their block, that's opposite opposite the civil service. That block there in Abuja, and almost about 90% of them are Fulanis. You see them with their people who don't know anything, people who don't have any value for education. People, they are there. Any office you go, you must see a Fulani man. The big boss you want to meet is a Fulani man. And you begin to ask yourself, the cutoff mark is higher for the Southerners, lower for the Northerners. But when they finish school, the lower cutoff mark people will take over the seat. They don't have value for education, but they are the ones awarding education contracts. They're the ones taking all the resources and doing all of that. They give the Southerners the contract. They slash the money, give you a little to carry out a particular contract, and then they have the bulk of them. They are not doing any work. They give you the contract to go and do, as a subcontractor, and then they slash the money, they cut the money, and take the main part of the money, and then you struggle to do the contract with what they give you and get the little as your profit. That is why you have so many, substandard contracts. Many contracts are just substandard. They are just there. They have not. The contracts are less of quality. The quality is low. That is why they don't even inspect. They don't even maintain, because they know that when it dies again, when it gets destroyed, they have to come again to reallocate it. They are the ones who are going to reallocate it and give you the stuff and all of that. Now, you are protesting to a government that is insensitive to education, that wants to Fulanize you, that want to make you Islamic, that don't care about you and don't care about your values. Do you have sense? Look at them now, and they spend their time, spend their resources, come to the streets for this kind of jamboree. I was even listening, if you listen to the video I played, you hear them singing "Good Morning Jesus." I don't understand. They are singing "Solidarity Forever." I don't understand. They are, honestly, you see, there is no way we can succeed as a people if we don't begin to think of how we reason. Honestly, that is why in Biafra we have decided our orientation program will be so massive that every sector would have a created, traditionally created, that is our own Biafra created, curriculum and course that would actually program the concept of what we want, concept of nationhood, and the ability to reason in that particular sector or in that particular department or in that particular agency. It will be streamlined to the concept of the agency in line with the collective or the broad spectrum, the broad spectrum, what do I call it now? The broad spectrum orientation program value, the structural design of the general orientation value and program will run down in departments to be defined in the context of each department sector in our economy or in our government or in our country or in our nation. That is why, you see, we're going to be so much strategic that our orientation would make people have a liberal way of reasoning that will be justly and constructively liberal, not liberal to the point where we are going to talk about giving rights to homosexuality or giving rights to gay people and lesbians or bestial, all those people who sleep with the animals, all those people who think of not all those kind of nonsense, but constructively liberal. Our orientation program would dissect and revitalize our Biafranhood, our nationhood, our cultural values, our traditional values, and instill personality order in every Biafran. No reasonable person who knows who is against you would go and keep asking them to give you what will make you greater than them. The Fulanis know that by education, they are nowhere. You are higher than them. You are smarter. You are wiser. They are in control of your education. And you are going to ask them to give you something that will make you better than them, for God's sake. Why is ASU is wasting their time? You are striking on something that is not worth it, that is not achievable. Because in the end, you will still come to a compromise. That is what they do. After striking, you can imagine a government that is sensitive to education, that wants their people to be educated. Since February, they've been on strike until now, over 6 months or so, 5 to 6 months, yes. they are striking. Doesn't move them that education is threatened. Any country where education is threatened, the value and the structural value of that country or that nation is threatened. Everything about that country is in jeopardy because education feeds every other sector. Who are those employed in every other sector? Those who went through education, whether formal or informal. So, which means that if you want to strengthen the cause or the sectors or the values of the economy or the political values or whatever value or social value of any country or any nation, go straight to the education. Education also includes orientation because in Biafra, we're going to have a systemic, program that will help to create the concept of orientation in our educational system. Because here we have what they do in the zoo is you just go there, they just tell you some things that you need to hear that will suit their way of keep making you, and all you think is you're coming out of school, you want to go and get work. When you come out of school, you go and look for a job. They give you a mentality, a restricted mentality. Come out of school and you're going to look for a job, or come out of school, you look for where you'll be employed, where you're going to go and steal. And they have made it in a way that you know that when you come out of school, you need to get employment. When you get employment, you just go there and then seek of how you're going to survive in that employment. If you are a thief, of course, they are the ones they are the master thieves anyways, but you go there and you need to think of how you're going to embezzle, and if you have your way and opportunity to embezzle. The system has been so corrupt that it's now regulated in the mind. All you need to do is finish school, get into, start working, look for opportunities to steal and make money, and then build a house or something, and look for a way, because you know that when you're coming out of school, your pension is not guaranteed. In fact, you may die along the line of trying to collect your pension and all of that. So they know all of these, and they don't want you to come out of it. They program it. That is why in Biafra, I'm going to be talking extensively on how we're going to be dealing, with issues that have to do with our education and orientation and the total economic, social, and political values of our nation, Biafra, in one of these broadcasts during the week, next week, by God's grace. I'm going to be speaking extensively on that. But I want you to understand this, that every one of those Biafrans who are behind me, they need to hear this message. You are fighting the wrong cause. You are pursuing the wrong cause. You must fight to instill a system that values education, and that is why we are fighting for Biafra. If you don't instill a system, a structure that values education, you will keep wallowing in abject ignorance. Abject ignorance that will feed you in your mind, in your soul, in your spirit, and make you pursue after things that will waste your time. Look at what our young men are doing behind. The same pattern. They've done the military rule, after the military rule, and all of that during IBB time, all of that until military rule. The same strike, come back, strike. It has become a system. It has become a mentality. So anybody who is getting to school understands that at a point we must protest. You prepare your mind, because we protest there is going to be strike and we're going to protest. It has become a norm. So that is why you see them, what they are doing there is singing Good Morning Jesus. They don't even know the value of the problem they are in. I mean, the extent of the problem they are in. They don't even know the level of destruction that is going on with their education and within the system. That is why they can stand there and sing Jesus, a Good Morning Jesus. If you listen to that video again, you'll hear it. Good Morning Jesus, in a situation of destruction. Maybe I should play it again so that you can listen to it. Good Morning Jesus, in a situation of destruction. Listen to it.
This is a demonstration from Nice.
Sorry, the thing is
This is happening in real life at Airport Road. International Airport in Lagos State. And here you have security officials
Holy Spirit is on the throne. And the Holy Spirit cannot teach them the value. The Holy Spirit that they believe is on the throne cannot teach them the value of what they should do. That Holy Spirit can teach them the value of what they should know. They are singing Good Morning Jesus in a situation that is out of doing a wrong thing and expecting the Holy Spirit to come and bless the wrong they are doing. ASU is asking a government that is in sensitive education, and they are not thinking that what they should be doing is clamoring for a freedom, a system that would bring back education beyond the values in Nigeria. Rather than them seeking for freedom, seeking for things that would change the course and the norm and the routine, that would change I'm looking for a particular word, that would change the status quo. They are crying and enjoying the status quo like it is normal. For 20, 30 years, this kind of strikes have been going on. And yet, this same ASU that have been denied since 2009 from receiving what they agreed in 13 years ago, they are still going on strike 13 years after to still ask that same insensitive system structure to give them what they know that system doesn't have. How can they give you education when they are Islamist jihads, when they are they are the fundamental and staunch Fulanis who want to give you Islam and who want to subjugate you, who want to bring you down, who want to Islamize you? Their program is to get you to be Islamic so that you will not question their authority, using your religion to keep you low and keep you down. Yet you find our people protesting in, I don't understand. This is shocking. Now, I want our students to hear this because I have about 5 minutes to end this broadcast of 5 to 6 minutes. All these protests you are making would be better channeled to asking for freedom. Give your support. Nigerian students, all Biafrans, all Oduduwa people in those places must come out to give their support to the freedom cause, because the only way you can receive your education and get a standard education is when we have a free nation. Thank you so much, Mrs. Maureen Hinks. Good morning, good afternoon from here too, and I appreciate you too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The only way you can get your education, very, very important, and getting it in the value of your expectation. Maybe you don't have that expectation because you grew up in the zoo, so your expectation has always been low. That is why you are chasing protests to still maintain the status quo. I think the thing is that there is this level of understanding that they have, towards education based on the status quo, coming from nursery to primary and all of that to this point, that has affected the level of reasoning, so that they keep asking for the norm. They keep asking for the norm, and the norm becomes the status quo continuously and consistently from generation to generation. We are telling you now that this is not the best for you. The only way you can get a good education, even after you, for your children, is when this contraption Nigeria is broken. So I will advise all these students to better get off the road and begin to join forces. Their resources, their intellectual resources, their financial resources, everything they have, get them all into the issue of fighting for their freedom. If you are an Oduduwa person, please channel this energy that you are using to protest and all of that. I don't know whether you don't learn anything. From the time people have been doing it, they never got anything. You think it is in your time to change? Now that they have even come all out to kill you and to make sure that you get to endorse elections so that you can get them to continue to steal from you. You think this is the time they're going to meet your needs? You are joking. You are all jokers. You don't learn from history. You don't learn from history. You don't learn from history. That truth. Nigerian students are happy enjoying the stupid system. Of course, they're happy. You know why they're happy? Because they are just their mindset have been blocked. They are restricted in their reasoning. Their mindset have been restricted. Their mindset is programmed to accept a low standard, a very low standard. They have been programmed to accept something that is less than what they expect and what they want to achieve. So this has been the problem and the norm. That is why I'm talking to them right now. I'm just being calm talking to them so that it will sink into their minds that wasting your time on things that people have fought, even when things seem to be better then, when they have not really come out all out to show you that they are coming to kill you and Islamize you. People protested. They didn't get what they wanted. Is it now that they have come all out to tell you that now we are in your land, we want to get your land? Is it now they will now give you what you want in education? For God's sake, you have to be reasonable. Channel your energy. If you are an Oduduwa person, go and join forces with your Oduduwa brothers and seek for your freedom. If you are a Biafran in that place, because I know that about over 60% of them are Biafrans, go and join forces with the IPOB, Autopilot, and the Alliance, and all of that. Let's get this thing sorted once and for all. Solve this issue and this nonsense that is going on. If you're an ASU person who is protesting, you better just go back and start managing it like this, and then channel your energy to supporting us to get our freedom. By the time we get our freedom by next year, 2023, we can now sit down. We can now listen to you as human beings, because it is only Biafra that can listen to you because they know the value of education. We will now listen to you as human beings to take your queries and to take your demands and take them seriously. That is when we are going to listen to you. Not in this place that you are. You think that the Fulanis who are cattle rearers, who don't understand education, who don't understand the value of this thing, will give you education, sound education? You think they want you to be better than them? You have to understand these things. These are simple way of reasoning. Simple way of reasoning. They will never give you anything good. They will never give you anything good. So if you think that you are going to protest and get you're just in jamboree. That's why you're singing Good Morning Jesus, because you are just in jamboree. Protest, time to protest, come and show ourselves, so that camera will come and show us that we are on the streets. That is what people are doing. You don't even value your own self. So why would you be valued? Because the only way you can value your own self is to give yourself the sense that you need to join forces to get freedom. When you are free, you can talk about education strongly. I'm going to end this broadcast here because I've decided that my broadcast will not be more than 40 minutes or 39 minutes max. Anytime. I want to make it brief, make the points brief. If I have to talk about it again, I come up at another time to give you more points. I know that this I need to talk more on this, but I'm going to make it in the next broadcast so that we can have a better Madam, as Daza said, but most of them chanting there are obedient. Yes, that is it. It's that same mentality. Yet Peter Obi has said absolutely nothing about their plight. He would always say nothing because the only thing he will do is he will go to Twitter and say that the government, the ASU strike is actually telling on the nation. When I come in, I'm going to give them better. I'm going to listen to them well. That's all. That's the end. Did he listen in Anambra when he was governor? What did he do in education? These are, I'm going to talk more extensively on this in maybe tomorrow. I'm going to come up by this time again, same time, to talk more on this education, because I don't want this broadcast to go too long so that our people can listen to it. I'm going to talk more on this so that our people their eyes will open very well to understand what's happening. I want you to understand that freedom is the most important thing, and it is in freedom that you're going to get your value, your sanity restored, and then you're going to talk about things that are right for you and get what belongs to you. Share this broadcast, share it to all your social media platforms, send to your friends and loved ones, send to all these students, Nigeria students, university students, wherever they are, let them listen to this and then get sense, so that the prophecy of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will not come strongly on them and destroy them, so that they will get sense and be restored. Thank you so much.